Sometimes you may have a mail merge document, such as we have here, department move _ linked, that has already been tied and tested with an existing data source, which this has. This has been tied to the employees file, which is a Word table, but we then want to take that same base document and actually detach it from, in this case, the employees file, and reattach it to one that we have in the working folder called the staff file. Now, this is a fairly straightforward process. The thing to bear in mind is that if your column headings are different, then that's not going to match up with the fields that we have here in our mail merged file. So if we don't have a field called first _ name, then what does Word do? What happens if it doesn't have one called department or doesn't have one called salary? Well, I suppose the first thing to do is to find out what it does do. So we know that this works, and we can go to the mailings and preview, and we can see that there are a lot of employees. If we turn the preview off and go to select recipients, use an existing list, because I now want to change this from the employees one. Notice how yet again it goes to my data sources. So you always need to then move to correct location. And in here we have a file called staff. It too is a Word document in a table. It wouldn't matter whether you were moving from an Excel to an Access database or to a Word table document. It's only going to look for the column headings. So open. So far, no complaints. However, if we then try to preview the results, we find that we get an invalid merge field. It says this merge field is used in the main document, first _ name, but it does not exist in the data source. Now, our options are to either remove the field, so then we'll have nothing after the dir, or swap it with one of the existing fields in the new data. So we could swap it for the name field. Okay. Then it says salary doesn't exist in the new data source. Do I want to remove that? In which case I'll have a gap here. Or do I want to swap it for the column called wages? And you can see here, sample data shows me what I'm going to get in the first record. Well, that's great. Okay. And then it works. It didn't make any complaint about the department because their column headings were exactly the same. So if the column headings from the one set of data source are exactly the same as the old data source, then Word will just go ahead and make the change without any problems. If there are column heading changes and perhaps some of the data isn't there, then when you use preview, that's when you'll get presented with those invalid merge field boxes and allow you to either remove the merge field or map it to a different field. Now that we've swapped it over, we can go ahead and carry out the merge, and it will now use the new set of data. And there aren't 100 records in the new set of data, there are only 31. So I end up with 31 memos about the changes to the departments. So there's a new merge document, letters 5 now. It's merged all the data, the new data, with our base document to give us our end result. So I can close that and not save it to go back to the base file. So that's changing the data source. You can change the data source from a different type to another type, that's not a problem. We simply go to select recipients, use an existing list, navigate through our system to find the new data source, whatever kind of data source that might be, Word, table, Excel file, Access database, and then open, and not until you do preview the results will Word figure out whether there are any missing fields. And at that point, rematch them up.